Hi everybody. It's a wonderful Thursday morning and we're Thursday afternoon, excuse me. And we're finishing off this little series of herbs. So I've done several other little tutorials with herbs, parsley, basil, and a bunch of others. And I think what we're going to do on this last one, I don't want to spend a lot of time on herbs. I just thought it'd be fun to make some, to paint some. So what I'm going to do and what I'll need is a smaller kind of brush, and I've got a couple here. I actually keep choosing my transons, which is very interesting because actually they are my favorite brushes. And I think probably that'll be good. I've got a Transon 8 and a Transon 3, and these are round with a pointed tip. And that's the part I love about them, and a size 10. And what we're going to do is, just making sure my camera was working there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with a bluebell. It looks like we got a bluebell here that we can kind of make. So we're going to make a stem first. They all need stems, right? Every little plant has and needs a stem. So I got some green and I've added some little bit of blue to it. A little bit of a darker, in fact, I'll even put a little darker. Okay, wipe a little off there. And it's just basically, well, let's see, try not to get my hand in the way, but I guess I'm going to no matter what. So let's just bring down a bunch of stems like this that kind of all meet into the center, like this. Oops. And this one kind of shoots off like that. It's just kind of all a lot of, shoot-offs like that. And then a couple of long ones at the very top. And it's called bluebell. So what we've got here is these little bluebells at the top. Now I don't have a lot of water on my brush, and I don't have a lot of water. I don't have any water on my paper. So I'm just gonna, with this, for this part, I'm even going to use a smaller brush. I'm going to go to this really little one for these little bluebells because I don't want to take up a lot of room on this paper. I want to finish up using this paper. So we're just going to draw these little bells, right? Little things that look like bells. That's all we're going to do up here. And they just kind of hang down, actually, from a little stem. So in a minute, I will add a little stem that they're hanging off of. Actually, I can use the other brush to kind of, there's a little stem here, just kind of comes up like that. Need it to be a little darker, I guess. Okay. Watercolor dries really light. And by the way, I hope you're having a very wonderful day. It's very nice here. It's starting to feel more and more and more like spring. So all along the top, we're just taking these little tips of this brush, just with the tips. And we're making these real cute little bells, hence the term bluebells. Some are lighter, some are darker, right at the top here. You don't have to be in any place special, they just have to be. Okay, so I think probably that's enough for now, and then I think I'm going to keep this brush. This seems to be working out well. Add a little bit of yellow in there, and I actually have yellow. I don't have any more yellow watercolor on my brush, so I've actually using up my acrylic watercolor. It works great. I just use it, as you can see, I'm using it to lighten up the green I had on here. There's a few of these are going to be light. And then there's another one. They kind of like hook together. Now, as you can see, I've got a stem under there. And I'm just kind of painting right over it. See? And it goes right over it. And then down here we have some more of these little fat, pointy little leaves of it. And then we do another one. And it's kind of like what we're doing. That's what they are. All these little fat little, a little too much water on there. That's okay. And we'll add a little darker green over to the ones on this side. And they just seem to be like, it looks like, it actually kind of resembles a star, is what this shape of these leaves kind of make me think of. One at the top, and then one that kind of shoots off the side. And then another one that kind of comes up and shoots off the side. And what I'm doing to get these jagged edges is I'm just zigzag like that. That's making those. My mouth is literally drying right out this afternoon. And we have some more zigzagged leaves. And in there, in between those, were the little bluebells. You can see them in between the leaves. So we're just gonna, here and there and here, like Bob Ross used to say, we're just adding the little bluebells. He always used to say that. There and there, a little bit of something here and a little something there. So we have the bluebells, and then we just continue to just wherever we want to put these starry looking leaves, we just put them. I love herbs. I grew herbs, as I've talked about before. I grew a lot of herbs at one time. I had like 3 gardens of herbs. I mean, I absolutely loved just going out there, grabbing those really fresh herbs. We'll put some in the middle and just around wherever you want to put those leaves. They just seem to be everywhere. And in between those leaves, we put the bluebells. We're just depicting them here. They don't have to be perfect or anything. You'll probably have to zoom in a little bit because I want to use this whole piece of paper for all these. All right, and my eyes are kind of bothering me this afternoon, so I'm going to have to make this kind of short. But that's the bluebell. Then here we're going to do a buttercup. So on this one, these are wildflowers. I'm sorry, I meant to say that. I jumped into wildflowers, which is fine. I went from herbs to wildflowers. My apologies. Okay, so we're just kind of lines for stems, right? Which is using the tips of your brush to make your stems. And they hook on, another one comes off, another one comes off. You know how it is. That's how they work, all the flowers and the herbs and everything. So you just have stems all over here, everywhere. And then we're going to take some yellow and we're going to, in the middle of all this, we've got kind of similar looking leaves as we had for the bluebell. They're similar, but not exactly, because this one kind of, well, it's a little bit different and a little bit kind of bigger. Like that. And then another one kind of just, oops, wrong way. Okay. And just It's like coming up, it's like a big thing of the leaves. Just zigzag for the leaves. That's all you have to do. And then we can have another darker group of them here. They kind of, again, like this. Just a lot of jaggedness, like sections of them like that. You just fill it in. Hope you're having a beautiful day there, wherever you are. So happy that spring is here. I have the worst case of spring fever I think I've ever had. So it can't get here fast enough as far as I'm concerned. So we'll just continue to make these beautiful, they're like sections of jaggedness. The best way I can describe it. And I have a fairly wet brush. The paper's dry. Over in this one over here, I'm going to add some yellow because some of them are a little lighter. And I happen to be dabbing into my lemon yellow, which is my lemon yellow of acrylic. I actually have these little containers here, and they each have a little color of acrylic in them, so I don't mix them up with my watercolors, because then we'd have a problem. Okay, so at the end of, I'm going to take some of that yellow, and I'm going to take some of my Indian yellow. And what I'm going to do is there are these little cute little, I'm actually going to do it this way. There's 1, 2, point down, and the belly. They have like these 5 little petals. Whoops. 5 little petals on them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or we can just draw them. 1, little circles, 2, or ovals really. There's more. You can do it that way. You can do it like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whichever way you like to do it is the way you should do it. You can do it like this. It's just these are buttercups. I don't know if any of you remember buttercups when you were. And in the center is a nice, a little darker color. Use whatever you like. I've got a mixture going on here. And there we have our little buttercups, okay? And then the next one we're going to do, which requires a darker green for the stems, quite a bit of a darker green. We're going to have I'm grabbing perling green, and I'm grabbing some blue, and this one is really pretty interesting. We're going to just start again down here I'm using the point, as you can see, and it's literally just squirt, just this everywhere. These things, whatever they're called, and wiggle them. They're not straight, they're wiggled. So you've got like one long stem with a bunch of one other long one, because at the end of the stem, these things I'm drawing are the flower, the corn, whatever that's called. I'm having a hard time this afternoon. Okay, so we're just adding these little things everywhere. I'm not too good on the terms of things like this. I'm pretty good with flowers and so forth, but these wildflowers, I didn't take a course in wildflowers to paint this. I'm just painting them. So you know, go check them out for yourself or whatever. Cornflowers. And that's all it is, just this continuing of these little, and then we got like a leaf here, and then we've got larger ones, you know, like that. I got the, I use my tip, come down, and just sort of move it around to one side or the other. And that's all over the place. And then we're going to come into some purple. Lovely purple. I always love purple. And these are like, I'm going to do it the easy way. It's like a circle, and then the circle has all these little points. A little too much water there, sorry. So in that case, we just come in and sop it up. So go back to some purple. I'll make a circle. That just seems to be the easiest way to describe how to do this. It's a circle with spikes. And then we'll go to the blue. Maybe even add a little of that purple into it, because that's what it seems like. Make the circle with the tip of the brush. Not much water on your paint, on your brush at all. Right on the tips of the long stems. Make them a little lighter. Bunch of spikes all over. Easy peasy. And then we just, you know, just dot a few here and there where they're just starting to come out. And that, my friends, is the cornflower. Herbs, how much fun, huh? Now, the other one I wanted to do is going to be lavender. So we're going to get down here with the green, which is a little lighter. So we're going to add some of the yellow that I have over here, or bring some of that green over to that yellow and Indian yellow that I had. I absolutely love that color, Indian yellow, I really do. And then with the main stem again, we're going to kind of come up and go over here. And then off that one, we're going to come over here. Stems, stems, stems. That's what herbs and flowers and everything are, right? Stems, stems, and more stems. And on those stems, of course, are leaves and then the flower. So this has, they have a little bit of brownish, so I'm going to add the burnt sienna in there to give the stems a little more brown, because that's what it shows. And then they're kind of like this. They're not really, they're not a sharp tip. They're kind of a little rounded sort of leaf. You can start whichever way you want. You could start from the top, just come down, kind of rounded, but not, they're rounded at the top, and they kind of have the shape of an S curve as well. I mean a C curve, I'm sorry. So you want to have a rounded top to it, not a big point, and just kind of come up, you know, like that. It's all over the, and then you can lighten them up, put some lighter ones there. That actually works better just to go like that. And then, of course, we have our purple. I'm going to our, I'm actually going to use some mauve in with some of the colors that I have. What I do with, I've had more people ask me how I get my color blends, and I always tell them that I literally blend the colors with, you know, I have all these blends going on in my palette, and from the different things that I'm doing, sometimes I separate that, but most of the time I don't, and I just keep blending and blending, and I make it kind of work for me. It's really hard to explain, but it's all about what I've got on my palette. half the time I don't even think about it that much. It's just there from what I'm doing, and I'll see it and I'll go, oh, that in my head I'm like, oh, that'll make a really pretty this, or that'll work good for that. And that's literally really how I do it, which always seems to work out awesome. All we're doing is dabbing here, folks. Dabbing with the tip of the brush. This is lavender. Lovely. I have a lot of stuff in my house that has the lavender smell. And it's just these squiggly little dots. You can add some blue in there, different places. A little blue here. Because no herb or flower, wildflower, or anything is one color, ever. In fact, when I started to paint, that was one of the things that opened up for me in my mind and everything. I'm taking some white here to lighten up some areas, was how I began noticing, whether it was trees or flowers or any object whatsoever. Mostly I began with the trees and the nature and everything because that's what I love to paint. It just opened up to me to see that, you know, what we never saw before, which you don't think about, you know, a blade of grass, same idea. It just, everything began opening up for me on you know, how God created it all. Now we're going to do here some wormwood, which is going to be a little browner for a stem, for stems. And they are, again, the beginning of a stem here. Get a little more green and a little more water. But we want that brown to be indicated. So I can come around and then come down, and again, things just come off of other things, long branches, and then off the long branches you might have another branch which has another stem, I mean, not branch, and then it might have another one, and you know, that's what it is. You just do that, make those stems until you get as many as you want. So we'll just add this one here. And then then there's these little light colored green. Well, hard to explain them, so I'm just going to do this. It's hard to define them, so I'm just going to dab wherever I think that there's one of these little, some of these little flowers, these little leaves. They're light, they're dark. Get one of my lighter greens. This happens to be one of my light greens in my, I just happen to like the color and how it usually adds. There we go. And it's just, they're just kind of everywhere. And then from there, make sure you wash your brush off really well when you put any acrylic paint on these. I wash them again after when I'm done the video. We're going to have the little yellow, these little things. Need a little more color there. But just these little, right on the ends. I've got green mixed in there. Okay, let's get that. So they're just dabbed in. It's probably hard to see it. I'm trying to keep it more yellowy, but they're just off and then alongside them are the little leaves. You'll have to zoom in, folks. So we got all the little leaves next to the little yellowy flowers. You know, there's all these little yellow flowers, little teeny things here. Little. see them a little bit better, but all over where the stems are. Just wherever you want to put the little tiny little, it's just dabbing. Dab, 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 dab. And amongst them are the green leaves. Little leaves that just kind of come out around the little flower parts. So go back wherever you put the little yellow things. And there we have a set of cute little watercolor wild herb flowers. Well, that's probably going to be for now, but who knows? I can change my mind, probably will. But, actually we have room for one more here, and I think that I will do, got a lot of things on my palette here. Need some little bit of brown in this one. I think what we'll do is a mustard one. So that has a lot of the same idea. We get green in there. Okay. The stems are all so very similar, They're all of them. Gonna have more green in with the brown. And then, some little thin little. You're using mostly the tip of your brush. And then you'll have these things that do this. I need a little more green here. Kind of a lighter green. Just these things like this. And for the leaves, on some of the branches. And for the leaves, they're like another one of those ferny type of leaves. They go like this. And a different green here. Go back in with some of my other green. Yeah. They're kind of like this. 1, 2, and they're in 3s, like this. That's basically what they are on a stem. And you can come down and actually make more. They just kind of like everywhere. So they're 3. So we have like this. They're like ferns. And then off this side, we have another one. And then over here, we have another one. So in groups of 3s, right? This is the mustard plant. And then they just keep kind of going down the plant. It's, just some of them are little. So you have one there, spiky, and then you have another one here. And they just kind of come up like that. And then even another one, and they come up the stem. And you keep doing that, and then at the very top, as mustard is, it's kind of that yellowy color. So we want the yellow, bit of that orangey kind of in it, and just at the top, it's like 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. So you just at the tops of a little more yellow, orange in there. You just dabbing. They're at the top. The flowers that are at the top of the stems around the leaves. They're like little dots, little round things. So you can just stick them anywhere you want. So that is the end of, I think, the little bits of wildflower and herbs that I'm going to do for a little bit. So we've got, let's see, the lavender, the bluebell, the buttercup, what was that one? The wormwood, and the mustard plant. So this was fun. Anyway, herbs and flowers are so much fun to make. I mean, super, super fun to make with watercolor. So I hope you've enjoyed it, folks. I hope you'll try some of your own. They're really fun, and you can make them real small like this. This isn't a very big, piece of paper, but I got 1, 2, 6 on here. So check out my other tutorials, friends. There's a lot of helpful information, a lot of helpful for beginners especially, tutorials, and some actual encouraging tutorials where I just talk about, just encourage you. Like everyone needs encouragement and help at the beginning, because that's what I gear mine at, is for the beginner, as we all were beginners at one time, and we all got frustrated, and we all, needed help and encouragement. So that's my thing. That's what I want to do. So enjoy it and have a great rest of your day, folks. Bye for now.